We got to talk about your stock market escapades. Now, where did this all start? Because I don't think a lot of people know your true backstory. Working as a gas station attendant.
Yeah, attendant. That's a term there. Attendant sounds like I'm the guy that like pumps it. I think there's still some states where you can't legally pump.
Correct.
That's
true.
gas.
Oregon.
True?
Yeah.
What?
Oregon? Are you serious?
Jeez.
Yeah, Oregon.
That's
Wow.
crazy.
There's a fancy gas station in Beverly Hills where they have this the service for it. It's the gas like $1 extra a gallon. Like, that's a luxury. But you go to Oregon and it's just like assumed someone's gonna
pump your gas.
Yeah.
For you.
Do you tip them, or is it? I mean,
I'm assuming that you do tip them. Yeah. It's just to provide jobs. Like that's they provided. They made legislation to like
really
force. Yeah. So you have to have people pumping your gas for jobs.
Is that a service people
want?
Yeah.
For me, no, I don't think so.
I was about to say, like, I would feel uncomfortable. I would feel like this is something I'm capable of doing myself, and I
honestly,
should be able to.
They're probably better at it than you are.
Yes.
So if they can do it better than you,
Sure.
From a quick Google search, people in Oregon do not tip.
oh, okay. So it's not customary to tip.
Okay. Well, if it
doesn't cost any money, right?
Well, if it's free,
Yeah.
and you don't pay more for gas, where does the money come from?
Listen, I didn't research that far. I just saw that the locals do not tip.
Yeah, because Oregon doesn't have sales tax. That is their big thing.
Yeah.
That's their shtick. No sales tax. You buy something, what you pay is what you pay. I'm curious where the money's coming from.
No, Oregon. Don't they also have no state income tax?
No.
Oh, it's not Oregon.
No.
Okay. I don't know why I was thinking Oregon was one of
No,
the
gosh,
7 states.
imagine I would be in Oregon. I would be in Portland right now if there's no sales tax and
no
no state income tax. Jeez, everyone would move to Portland.
Oh my goodness. But anyway,
Great city. Anyway, yeah.
Back to the whole story there. So in terms of me getting in the stock market, it actually happened before I got to the gas station and Quick Trip. That actually happened back when I worked at Walgreens, making, I don't know. I think I started there at $8.75 an hour in the photo department at Walgreens. And essentially, Walgreens had a plan where essentially you could buy shares of Walgreens stock for, I think it was either a 10% or a 15% market discount. So, if the stock was trading at, let's say, $20 a share, you could buy it for, I don't know, $18, $19 a share or whatever. And so I was like, well, that seems like a no-brainer. The only catch was you had to hold it for at least 3 months. And so I was like, okay, let me start doing that. So I started doing that. That's how I set up a Fidelity account. And then I had an accounting teacher, actually at community college, who showed me the most powerful thing in my life as far as financially, which was a compounding calculator.
Oh, I love that.
Yes, and he would show us, if you had this amount of money and you got this percentage return. And, if you've never seen that before, that is like the most mind-blowing thing, at least for me, seeing that, right? And so right away I was like, okay, investing. I kind of started doing the Walgreens thing. And then I was like, well, I can look into other stocks. And I was like, this is all available information on the internet. And then I just started going down the rabbit hole, started watching Warren Buffett things, learning all that. And next thing you know, I was starting to invest money. And it was like $250, $500 a time. Back then, it was $19.95 to buy a stock.
To execute any trade?
Yes.
To
buy
selling?
or sell.
You don't realize how good you have it now. Oh man.
Thank you, Robinhood.
I used to use it was Scott Trade back. Someone bought them. I forget who it was, but it used to be Scott Trade. I think back then it was, and this is like mid 2000s, but I think they were like $7.95, or it was like $7 to $10 per trade if you wanted to buy anything or sell anything.
Yeah, Fidelity was $19.95 when I first got started, and then very shortly after they switched to $9.95 because I think they were getting competitive pressure. One time I made a huge mistake and I phoned in a trade. I didn't know how much it was. $39.95. And we're talking, I was buying like $400 worth of a stock. So now I need to get a 10% return roughly, just
more than 10%.
Yeah, then just to cover the trade to buy. And then imagine if I was to sell another $19.95 if I did online, or $39.95. But anyways, that's a long story. So I stayed with it because at the end of the day, I looked at it and I was like, I think I can get a positive return. Then they lowered it to $9.95. I got even more into investing. So I'm like, oh, now it's only $10 to buy a stock. I'm like, this is great. and I would save up between $500 and $1,000 a time. And I'd go ahead and make that move. So the way I thought about it is I save $1,000 to invest, which would sometimes take me a month, if not several months back then to do that, right? The way I kind of thought about it was, all right, invest $1,000 is a $10 trade commission. So that's like 1%, right? And then, so basically in my mind, I'm like, I got to get at least 2% on this position to cover the trades. And then I just started building from there. At first it was the most boring stocks. I bought stocks like Conagra Foods, Walmart, I bought BP after the oil disaster. The stock just got hammered. I was looking at the balance sheet at that time, and I was like, I don't think they're going to go bankrupt. There's some people pricing it for bankruptcy. They made it through. I made a little money on that. And then I just started building from there. When I got the job at Quick Trip, that's when I really started rolling. So that was a game changer, because then I was making, they started me out at about 40K. Moved up really quick to a high bonusing store, one of the best bonusing stores in Arizona. Started making over 50K. And then my apartment was probably $725 or $750 a month rent. And I used to keep all my other expenses super low. I used to shut the air conditioning off if I was gone at work, and do anything, eat ramen noodles, and just I used to eat those pork and beans. You guys, you can get those. Back then, you can get them for like 88 cents at Walmart. And then you throw a piece of ham or two in it, throw it in the microwave. That would be a meal, less than $1. So I try to keep all my meals less than $2 for sure, but ideally less than $1. And man, I was just investing. I was an investing beast, and investing like $1,000 to at that time, when I started getting to a place where I could invest like $2,000 a month. It was crazy.
That's a decent amount of money, though, $2,000 a month. So what were you making to invest $2,000 a month back then?
That's when I got up to, that's when what was I making as terms of my job?
Yeah.
So that's when I got bumped up to making about $4,000 to $5,000 a month from my job. And then you get the taxes taken out of that. Quick Trip, they used to help a lot with health insurance. So you got the health insurance, you had some other cost. I used to always keep my expenses super low as far as my cars went, things like that. So yeah, I was able to start investing like $2,000 a month back then, which it felt like a lot of money. There's no doubt about it. And that's how I really started the snowball rolling in 2010. And then I also simultaneously taken my investing game up to another level, and I found some really good stocks back then. So
what did you find?
So
tattooed chef.
That's now.
Yeah. GoPro.
So oh gosh, no. So there was a stock I found named Trinity Industries. And this is when I started piecing things together as far as trends that were multi-year trends that were going to play out in industries where I saw a tremendous opportunity. So Trinity Industries was this company, super boring company. They had a construction side of their business, selling like safety cones and like the stuff that's like on the side of the highway that if you like hit it, it kind of like crumples, those sorts of things. But they also had this side of their business of selling rail cars. In this rail car business, there's hardly any companies that sell rail cars. It's such a random thing. You need to get all these industry standards. There's maybe 2 or 3 companies in the whole United States that probably sell big volumes of rail cars, right? Specifically, oil and gas rail cars. Well, I was looking, and at that time in North Dakota, fracking was starting to take off huge. And you were starting to hear stories about people were moving to North Dakota making like $120,000, $150,000, like basically just fracking oil. And so I was like, well, there's no pipelines to like transport this. So the only way you could transport it is through rail cars. So I looked at this and I was looking at the stock, and it was trading very darn cheap. And I'm like, they're about to see a massive multi-year boom in their business, in my opinion. Sure enough, that's exactly what played out. And Trinity Industries went on a crazy run. And that was one of the first, if not the first stock that really gave me a lot of confidence that I'm like, I can do this. Like I can do this. Before that, it was kind of like, this is something I could be decent at. That was the stock that took me, and I was like, I can be really good at this. And it gave me the confidence. And then after that, it was a lot more stocks, including Cabela's and some others. But the Trinity Industries, that was huge for my confidence.
That was a really good time to invest, though.
Yeah.
To start in like 2008, 9, that was like, you missed the entire run up. started going down, and that's when you started investing. So everything after that was gravy for the most part.
Yeah, I just wish I had more money back then. The problem was, 2008, 2009, I'm investing $500 a time or $250, whatever. 2010, I finally started getting going, but that wasn't until like the end of 2010. So that huge initial ramp up, I had like hardly any money in the market. So I really wasn't able to capitalize. But from your standpoint, what if I had got in 2006? Maybe that would have killed my confidence right off the bat. Seeing the market dip, I don't know. You know, you can't ever go back in time like that. But yeah, it was certainly, it was an interesting time to get involved in the market because, a lot of people were scared. And I looked at it and I'm like, I'm just getting involved in this thing, man. Like, I didn't have much fear as far as that went. But I also didn't start out like super confident, like, oh, I'm going to be such a great stock picker. That happened over time. I needed to see the results. And that's mostly how I am in life.
So you built up the portfolio. Your number is $200,000 at 25 years old.
Yeah.
And then once you were 25 years old, is that when you quit Quick Trip?
No, I had 200K before I was 25. So I quit Quick Trip at 24. And, it was a tough decision. So I was really burnt out at Quick Trip. I'll be completely honest. It was a grind, man. Up at 4 a.m. almost every day, and just putting in the hours. You're working 48 hours a week, sometimes 50 hours a week on manager schedule. Waking up at 4 a.m. You get off pretty early. You get off at like 2, 3, but you're on your feet all day. There's no breaks at Quick Trip. There's no, let's go sit in the back for 30 minutes and chill out.
Aren't legally you're supposed to have a lunch and 2 breaks? Or is it just,
Well, yeah, I'm not going to throw my old company under the bus, man. They gave too much to me for me to ever throw them under the bus, but I don't know. You'd have to look into that situation. But essentially, yeah, there were no breaks. There were no official breaks. There was no like, oh, you get, go clock out now and take your lunch or take your 15. At Walgreens, yeah, it was super professional like that in terms of like, you got your 15, then you got your 30, and people were super demanding of it too.
Yeah.
Quick Trip, you might work 10 hours straight. You're on your feet your whole time, and you might never get a chance. If you're going to even dream of eating, you better eat that hot dog fast. That's all I'm going to say about that.
I hated the 15, 30-minute breaks when I was doing that data entry job. They made you take the 15-minute break in the morning, 15-minute break in the afternoon, and I think it was a 30 to 45-minute lunch. I hated it because I didn't want to have lunch. I didn't want to take a break. I was just like, I'm just getting going.
Yeah.
And now I have to take and I'd literally sit there and just twiddle my thumbs for 15 minutes, being like, can I just finish what I was working on?
Yeah.
And I remember we had Roxanne. I did not like Roxanne. She was the the back office manager, and I would tell her these complaints like, what I wanted to do is just take my break a little bit later and then push my lunch later. Like I wanted my lunch to be as close to the end of the day as possible. No, you can't do that. You have to take your lunch between these hours. Like it made no sense to me. And then I brought up the argument, what if I just work straight and I just get off an hour and a half early? No, we can't do that. We have to comply with you. It's stupid. It's because I'd just rather work and just get it done and then leave. Leave an hour and a half early. Then I miss the traffic driving home. But never understood the need for a break. I don't know. Just take a break when you're hungry.
Yeah.
For as long as you need to, and then just come back and finish it.
That's what it was like for me working in a restaurant before I worked for you. It was there was no mandatory breaks. Even if you were working like an 8.5 hour shift or whatever, you just take a break whenever you get hungry or whenever you like get tired from walking everywhere. And you take like 15, get a sandwich, get back to work.
Yeah. That's the way it should be.
Yeah.
They should really go over the entire structure of the 9 to 5. I really think they should stagger it. Get rid of the 9 to 5 completely. And just have different shifts. Like you want to be shift A, B, or C. And maybe shift A starts at like 5 a.m. For the people who just want to finish early. Shift B starts at like 8. Shift C starts at like 11.
You need to have people in the office at the same time.
Well,
9 to 5s are typically those jobs where like you're going to have a manager, you're going to have like people above you. It's going to be a little more corporate structure, and they need to oversee all of the work that you're doing.
That's true. Yeah, I'm just thinking from traffic.
Yeah.
Because if we spread out the times where people start and leave,
exactly
there wouldn't be so much rush hour traffic.
That's a real LA comment right there.
I know. Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Anyway, yeah.
Yeah. So anyways, yeah, Quick Trip, it was a grind. You know, I remember even as early as, 2011. So I hadn't even been working for the company that long. I remember just like having this fantasy. I'd be driving to 99th and Camelback Quick Trip I was working at. I had this fantasy. There was this pretty decently nice, just like 2-story office. It was kind of almost across from the Quick Trip. And I remember driving by that. And I had this fantasy in my head. I was like, how nice would it be to just like wake up in my apartment when I want, go to that office and have a little office, like executive office in that building, and just like invest in stocks all day. And this was like a fantasy that I just like thought about every day. And I was like, man, that would just be the life, man. That would just be so good. Like I could only imagine how happy I would be doing that. And so nowadays when I kind of live life my own terms, you start taking it for granted. Like working from home, being able to like if I didn't want to record a YouTube video, I don't have to. Like just I go play with my kids at the park. And sometimes I remember back to those days a decade ago, and I'm like, dang, man, like it was just a dream. You know what I mean? To like live life when you want to not have to work when you have to work. Because a Quick Trip, it's like, you got these hours, you better work those hours, right? And so anyways, yeah. But 2014, I left the company, and I actually thought I could make it on stocks with only 200K, which is not conducive for my strategy. So my strategy is investing in stocks for years, right? Well, when you only have, let's say 200K and you still need money to live, like you still got to rent, I had a kid coming, right? The firstborn. And so, then you start putting short-term pressure on yourself. And so for me, I started doing a lot of short-term trading. I got into margin super heavy because then I was like, well, I was getting like 30 to 40% consistently year after year. So then I was like, why not margin? I only have to pay 6 or 8% or whatever. And next thing you know, I'm making short-term trades, earnings trades. Some would go bad. I'd lose like 10,000. And when you lose 10,000 in a day, and you only got 200K to your name, it was just, it went bad really, really fast. It was a good decision because I got out of that. I started businesses and I used some of the stock market money to start my first business, my real estate marketing business, which I started for probably less than $10,000. But I pulled that out of the stock market, and it was nice to be able to at least make that decision to not be stuck in that job, because I do definitely feel like if you're in the financial position where you don't have money, you're forced to keep doing this job even if you don't like it.